Are you ready to make a bad decision? Let's enter a haunted house. Welcome, foolish mortals, to my proud home, Raven Manor. Why are you looking like that? Well, what did you expect? There are bound to be ghosts in a haunted mansion. You did know it was haunted, right? They're supposed to warn you before. After all, I'm only one out of the 999 ghosts here. Well, while you're here, let me tell you a ghost story. First, we have Enter, If You Dare, which shares 5 tales of terror and woe with you about inviting ghosts and ghouls that might not let you go, a creepy fortune teller, faces in mirrors, and so much more. No, well, maybe Tales from the Haunted Mansion is more your thing then. These are the terrifying tales of 4 fearsome children trying to frighten each other with scary fiction of their own. But what happens when a ghost librarian gets involved? Oh, not good enough? You want more? Well, maybe Storm and Shade will do it for you. I have a lovely story about a student, Audrey Perez. She already had anxiety and then she moved to a different town. And she and her new friends got just a tiny bit too curious, which led her to be swept in a macabre story with the fate of all 999 ghosts in her hands. Welcome to day 8 out of the 31 days of Halloween. Today is all about the haunted mansion. So take it you met Cecile. Don't worry, she's mostly friendly. Just you don't want people to know stuff, don't tell Cecile. She loves to gossip. But she's about the nicest ghost you can have here. And so far, I have to be honest with you, I'm kind of digging her recommendations. I just finished Enter If You Dare, which is a book by Disney, and it's Scary Tales from the Haunted Mansion by Nicholas Stevens, illustrated by Sergio Martinez. And this was actually really fun. It's an old book, so I was a bit scared that it might not translate well to current day times, or it has this really cheesy Goosebumps jokes. It didn't. It's great. It definitely gave Goosebumps vibe, but without the fake scares, without the and then it was all a dream, without the cliffhanger on every chapter. Although these are all very short stories, so there's not really a cliffhanger in between because they take maybe 4, 5, 6 pages. But they were really good. The first one was about a very scary fortune teller, and it is obviously, haunted mansion, but it was not Miss Leota. However, there was a floating head in a crystal ball, but she had a different name. And then the fortune teller was so scary. I absolutely love the story. What a way to start. Very good, very entertaining. Then we had the face in a mirror where a girl sees a ghost stand right behind her, but she can only see it on reflected surfaces, and every time her mom is around, she doesn't see it. And then all of a sudden she sees it and she loves horse riding, and stuff happens while she horse ride, which is, again, a totally different way the first story went, and I loved it. Good to get 2 perspectives right away in 2 stories. And then we have Music to Their Ears, which is about a boy who loves playing his instrument. That sounds so weird if I say it like that. Don't say it like that. It's Brandon, and he loves to play his clarinet, which I'm not sure if that makes it better. However, his brothers always tease him, so he has to practice outside, and all these stories happen in the same park with old mansion that has a graveyard in the garden, and it's said to be haunted, which we all know now is the haunted mansion. So he practiced in that park, and stuff goes awry. Then we had a very weird, but also a bit scary story about, and it's called The Ice Habit, which, story about ice I was hesitant about. But it's not really about ice. The key is the ice. But this is about, I don't even know if I can say it because it's so short. If I tell you the plot, it probably spoils it. But this is about a girl who wants to be a model, and she goes into this photo studio. And then the last story was late for the wedding. Major corpse bride vibes. That's all I'm gonna say. So I really enjoyed this, which I did not expect. So I think it's 4 star. It's very short. It's only 75 pages. That's why I already finished it. But really, really enjoyable, especially if you want goosebump vibes, but better and truly, stuff happening. This is it. So now it's time to move on to the next book. I have finished another book. It is Tales from the Haunted Mansion, Volume 1, The Fearsome 4. That's it. This is published by Disney, and the idea of this series is that every book is a story of one of the 999 ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. This book is a story about 4 kids. They go in this haunted mansion, and then the librarian is going to tell them their stories. Because the 4 kids are in a club, so they count as well, I'm not sure. But they get 4 stories in this book. And I'm very disappointed. As you can see, the first bit was very funny. I tapped some and I almost never tap. So I love this bit. This is the librarian telling about the library. We are the most spirited amongst the books, harboring a special affinity for those tales that burrow under the flesh. Long after their authors have departed, their corruptible mortal vessels. In this way, books themselves are rather like ghosts. Their very binding contains the spirit of the dead, and that means this terrifying tome is haunted. Which means that this isn't merely a book you're holding, but an actual ghost. And that brings us to the subject at hand, the Fearsome 4. And I love that. And it has stuff like this for the full first bunch. When we're getting introduced to this from the librarian, that is amazing. However, the 4 tales from these kids are quite terrible. And not in a good way. I don't know what to say. It's giving goosebump vibes, but in a bad kind of way. Whereas Enter If You Dare and Haunted Mansion Volume 1 are both middle grade. So they're both for children, they're both about children. And in both of the books, in both of the stories, the children die. Where this book is, I wouldn't say very realistic, because I have personally not been attacked by a ghost before. However, if ghosts can attack, this is true. This can totally happen. This is realistic. And these are actually quite terrifying tales, especially for children. So I love them. This, however, because both gave goosebump vibes. This in a very 90s nostalgic, great way. This in the they're silly stories and they're very unrealistic way. A kind of like the fake scares, goosebumps vibes. Because the first story, in all the chapters, or in all 3 stories, the kids die. That is the purpose of these stories, to scare them with stories when that they die in. And the first one is about a haunted baseball glove. The second one is about zombie pets. The third one is, you know, these old fish things we had in the 90s with this package of powder, and you put it in water and you get fishy live things, like sea creatures kind of things, but very small. Well, this is about an actual sea creature. Kind of sort of like the Kraken, but it comes out of those packages. And then the fourth story, I finished this yesterday and already forgot. Oh yeah, that was about dares. Kids daring each other to do stuff. And one is getting buried alive. He's burying himself alive, basically. So these feel so silly, so over the top. There is no scare factor anymore at all. It's just done. Because I don't know. You cannot take these stories seriously, but I do think they take themselves serious. Like, it's not in a we're just having a silly good time kind of way. Yeah, I think this is supposed to be scary and it's absolutely not. So very disappointed by this one. Great one, bad one. And then we have A Storm of Shade, and I think I'm sort of halfway listening to it. This is a young adult, sort of helps. This is about a teenager, Audrey, and she's moving to a new town. But she has anxiety, very severe anxiety. She's in therapy for it, and that helps her a lot. And she has a boyfriend that she feels like is a bit overprotective sometimes, but he means well, and she really believes that she can't do anything without her boyfriend. Whereas everybody else, or her new friends, see him as holding her back, very possessive, always make sure that they do what he wants instead of never doing what she wants. So, and I agree with the friends. I don't like the boyfriend at all. He was a major trigger warning for me, or not a trigger warning, but he's a major red flag for me since the start. And I do feel like we're going to the site where she's gonna find that out. So I do hope that is the case. But she is finding it out. All meanwhile, she went into this scary house with her new friends. And it's the haunted mansion. So the rooms are different every time they enter. The ghost just likes to scare them. They won't hurt them, but they love scaring people. And she made a friend in the house, and she took a book from that house to her home, and that made her a beacon for other ghosts. And now something very bad that is called a shade is after something through her. So she's being possessed multiple times now. And that is really, really interesting. I love the story, but the friends in this. She made new friends, and they're amazing. I love them so much. We have Tatum. She's Irish. She has an accent on the audiobook, and I'm not sure if it's accurate. However, to me, it's funny in a good way, and she is very distinctive that way. It's very clear it's her in the audiobook. She could be my best friend. She's freaking amazing. She's the best in everything, very optimistic, very sarcastic, but just so extremely supportive. Like, she got called by, Audrey, like, this is what's happening to me with the Shay. She was like, shall I come over? I'm coming over. And Audrey's like, what you gonna do? And she was like, well, I'll find it out when I get there. Like, obviously, there's nothing she can do, but she's willing to try. And I love it so much. She is so funny. Yeah, I loved it. she's great. And then we have this very stern looking girl, but she's very intellectual, and she is very she has a plan for everything. Like, when the both, Tatum and Audrey are getting scared and all in their emotions, she's like, all right, these are the facts we have. We cannot assume anything until we find the facts. How do we get the facts? What do we need to do now? And the trio is just perfect. And then they're now including this god girl, who apparently knows a lot about the supernatural. And they're trying to get her help to deal with the shade. Because Audrey is terrified, and she should be terrified, because she has been possessed twice, and the shade is leaving all these weird messages and try to get her. So I am enjoying the book. I think I'm halfway, so I hope I can finish it today. We'll see. But that would be great. Yeah, I am enjoying the book. So I hope we can end on a good note. Hello. I have finished Storm and Shade, and it was very enjoyable. It did get a bit more touchy on the end than I expected it to be. It was quite wholesome at the end, and I do think that was a nice moment. There was a huge battle in the end, and they had to say goodbye to a friend. So overall, it was a very fun read, especially if you love the Haunted Mansion. I would definitely recommend this book. The ghosts in this are all cute and friendly and wholesome. The thing they battle is not. And it's a paranormal thing, but not necessarily a ghost per se. If that helps any of you with the ghost trigger to decide if they can read this or not. I like the ghosts, they're very mischievous. I did like the friendship between Audrey and Iris and Tatum. Tatum is an absolute gem. She should be treasured forever. I love her. So yeah, I had a great time. I'm glad we're getting out on a bam, because this is the end for us.
I do hope you enjoy this terrifying Tales of Woe. I hope you had a lovely time. And I will let you go for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you want more of the spooky ride. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye.